ॐ नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। ॐ नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव।
Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Silly Bouncers, and today we have a very exciting episode. आज हम लोग बात करने वाले हैं hiring secrets के बारे में. So today we have a special guest who is joining us from the industry itself, in technology industry. So I'm looking forward to my chat with her. और ये वाली stream जो है वो इंग्लिश में ही रहेगी बिकॉज माई गेस्ट कैन ओनली अंडरस्टैंड इंग्लिश. सो प्लीज़ अपने जो कमेंट्स आप दे रहे हो, सो मेक श्योर यू नो दोज कमेंट्स आर इन इंग्लिश एंड वील ट्राई आवर बेस्ट टू आंसर दोज comments or questions that you may have related to this topic. So welcome once again, and let's jump in straight. You know, whenever I see her, I will make sure that she's with us straight away. So topic बहुत interesting है because whatever is happening nowadays in the industry, the kind of you know you can look at what AI is doing to this whole world, and how it is affecting the current job market. I'm 100% certain that a lot of people who watch me right now, or who are watching me rather, in one way or the other, are looking forward to applying for work, or or maybe preparing to apply, or maybe looking for a change in their work. So this is something that is very very important for those who are seeking work at this point in time. So I welcome on stage my guest for today. Welcome, Joe.
Hello, Nav.
Welcome to Silly Bouncers.
Hi. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. So, Joe, I was just explaining to my audience that what the situation is right now, in terms of the job market. So, in this podcast, I actually want to get behind the scene, in terms of what happens behind the hiring process, and what do companies think when they look for talent. So today's topic is one that affects pretty much almost everyone at some point in their career, and that is getting hired. Whether you're looking for your first job, thinking about a career change, or aiming for a promotion, or simply wondering why your application seemed to disappear into a black hole, this episode is for those people who are watching us. And there are countless options about online resume, interviews, LinkedIn, AI, networking, and what recruiters really want. But today we will go straight to the source, and that's why I have Joe in front of me, who is from the corporate world itself and has worked in multiple capacities across various industries. But Joe, welcome to the show, and I leave with you to start, your introduction, and then we will go forward from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Jocelyn, I'm based in Singapore. I think I've been in the recruitment space for a while now. I can't really recall how long has it been. But so far, been through multiple companies, across e-commerce, fintech, tech, etc. So I've kind of seen from really small scale startups, and also kind of work in like bigger setup in a way. I think things definitely has changed quite a fair bit ever since I first started. Saw through how in recruitment kind of really evolved from before COVID what happened during COVID, and now here where we are today. So yeah, a lot of things to unpack. Yeah, and it's been pretty amazing, I would say. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Right. Joe, so today we are going to bust some myths, uncover what really happens behind the scene of hiring, and hopefully help our audience leave with a practical advice that they can use immediately. So let's jump in. So I have a question for you. What is the what surprises you the most about the human resource industry and human behavior while you're doing recruitment?
Wow, that's a very deep question, I would say. Quite a bit of things to unpack. What surprises me the most? I think we can kind of take it at two folds, right? I think firstly is before AI really came about, and then how has AI really kind of changed human behavior when it comes to recruitment per se. Before AI, a lot of things went into, I would say, really growing the network and trying to figure out like what would actually help candidates to kind of get there, right? Without tech, it's really more of networking, understanding what the business wants, and a lot of understanding where the current market is kind of trending and kind of go from there. Whereas now, I think in the world with AI, everything is accelerated. A lot of times the process itself is also kind of shortened. We get to information really, really fast. We kind of see through the effects of recruitment really fast as well. And so that kind of shift, I would say, the context a little bit where candidates then now need to figure out, okay, with tech coming through, how can I really position myself to really catch the eye, right? I mean, first and foremost would be recruiters, or it could be potential hiring managers they have connected with in person and things like that. So yeah, I think surprising me the most of human behavior, I would say, how can humans also kind of start learning to adapt faster in a way. So we no longer can kind of function how we were previously, where it's a lot more, by the sequence and things like that. Sometimes you send your resume in and it takes a while to come back. But now it's in order for you to get there, are there other creative ways you can think about to kind of navigate things? I'm not sure if I answered the question correctly.
Well, there is no right or wrong answer in this podcast. So we'll just take it easy, as I said to you when we had this initial conversation, and this idea crossed my mind that I actually want to have, someone who can actually tell us, because I'll tell you some facts about the viewership that I have at the moment. I have 50% of my viewership; those are female audience, all right, which is surprising for a channel which is predominantly, I would say, cricket or sports related. And we also cover a bit of geopolitics. And on the other side, we have, when we compare with the age group, obviously 45% is female, the rest are male. But in terms of I would say the mix in terms of the age, and when I look at the stats on YouTube, it tells me that a lot of my audience are actually in a space wherein they are either looking for work or preparing to apply for work, or maybe they are in the midst of changing their first job or whatsoever. So it's a pretty vast audience that, I mean, obviously it's not in millions, but what I can see from the stats that I have. So let's deep dive, and maybe transition into the next phase of our discussion. So mostly people see one side of recruitment, right?
Yep.
Let's pull back the curtain. So tell me, what really happens after you apply? I mean, if someone finds a job online, like for example, if I'm looking for work and I click apply, upload my resume and wait, what happens next? Walk us through the journey from application to interview in the modern world.
Wow, a lot of things happen, to be honest. I think behind the curtains of actually even way before, when someone actually sees a job post, there's a lot of things to kind of square off with the hiring panel. I think first and foremost, it's also dependent on how the business is moving ahead. Sometimes you may see evergreen roles. Sometimes you might see a post that has been there for the longest time. Often revolves around really what exactly is happening with the business, right? So it could also be people putting out the job post just because they want to have a pipeline. So they might not be actively looking out for hires at this point. They're just gathering resource so that when the time comes, they can kind of really jump into it. On the other hand, there could be really urgent roles that they need to kind of close. And then, of course, more eyeballs will be on that. So when candidates kind of apply on that all the conversations before the role goes on actually was already done. So then that's where the recruiters will realize, okay, this is my requirements, this is what I need to look out for in a candidate, and then they start reaching out, and that's why you get a ping, I would say. So the review process itself, I would say in these modern times, we use a lot of AI as well to kind of expedite the process, which makes it a lot more complicated. Because then if candidates are really able to kind of put in the keywords that is required for the role, which oftentimes they probably about 60 to 80% they get that right. However, if you do not have the skills, then the recruiters will then take a longer time to really kind of sort that out, right? So, and then that's where the shortlisting comes, and then you kind of move through conversations, and then they pipe you through the process. So I think a lot more conversations also goes along, like if there's any changes along the way, that's where the recruiter had to kind of pivot. So I think even though the recruiters are the main gateway keepers in some sense, there are still a lot of multiple factors comes into play from the business lens.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot. Well, since you mentioned about AI, artificial intelligence, I came across a very interesting scenario, I would say a few months ago, wherein I was hiring someone for a position based in Melbourne. And this guy, when I started interviewing him, obviously we had the technical discussion and whatnot. At certain point, I realized that actually I'm speaking to a robot. And that's a face-to-face interview, by the way. It's happening similarly like us. So I actually thought after maybe 15 minutes that this person doesn't seem right to me somehow. And that is where, for the first time ever in my life, I realized that actually someone is trying to fool me or trying to sneak this job and probably, use that person's facial whatever data or whatever it is. And then, funny enough, when I asked him certain questions, those were related to Melbourne, and I asked a very specific question. Hey, just to understand where it is going. And then, funny enough, when I asked this question from him, that where do you live in Melbourne, his answer was, I live in Flinders Street. I'm like, I'm not sure, Joe, if you've been to Melbourne, but Flinders Street is central of Melbourne, where Flinders Station is, a very famous station where the tram stations go by every, it's a tram plus a train station, right? So I said, oh, you live in Flinders, but that's a very expensive area. He said, oh, yeah, I live in Flinders. And then I said, Flinders must be very expensive. He says, my experience has been good so far. I said, no. I said, the place is expensive. He said, yeah, my experience is in this technology for that many years. I'm like, hey, this person is basically having some issues with the algorithm, or the data is kind of going haywire. So his program cannot understand either my accent or he's having trouble understanding keywords, sometimes. But that was first time, and then I realized that, hey, can you please be honest with me and say whether you are a genuine person? Then he said, okay. Okay. And it was very obvious that, this person was a bot.
Wow.
So that was my experience with artificial intelligence. And I'm pretty sure that this may or may not be happening in Asia, but I'm 100% sure that there will be people out there who will tell you such stories. And let us watch a video together, Joe, where I'll tell you what I was trying to explain, and probably you can have a look at this. We can have a look at this together and see where this current world is going. It's pretty scary. Let's watch it together.
Gotcha.
I'll bring it.
From AI thing, though, how?
Sorry.
Here, man. Here.
Oh,
Can you see?
is that?
Yep.
Sorry, can you hold that
It's
up?
not AI.
Can you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's
That's
like
our director.
Oh, I see. I thought it would be your name.
No. That's our director. We have a multiple. You see all of them here.
Oh, I see.
So, Ronnie.
But is there
What's
not
going
some
on?
way of telling whether you're real or not? Can you hold up 3 fingers in front of your face or anything?
Oh, come on. That's too much.
Oh, you don't want to do that
Well, I'll do that here.
in front of your face?
What do you mean? I mean, that's too much. Come on, Ronnie.
Why would it affect the AI if it was in front of your face?
Well, not at all. But
Can
I
you
don't
do
know.
that
That's too
then?
much to ask somebody.
Well,
Well, I'm just
make
doing
sure
it.
you're not AI. Is that unreasonable? I mean, can you do that in front of your face?
Well, I think that that's too much to ask somebody. Don't you think that?
No, I don't think it is. If I'm making sure you're not AI, I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. Can you hold up 3 fingers in front of your face?
Well, I think that, well, is that enough?
No, it's not in front of your face.
Well, that's too much, don't you think?
Yes, it is, because, if you were real, you would put up 3 fingers in front of your face. Yes, I thought so.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? This is scary.
No, this is scary. I honestly didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah. I'll share this
Yeah.
video with you after this conversation. But see, this is where the world is going, and probably what I understood from this video is that this person has morphed somebody's, or maybe the candidate's face, and somebody's interviewing who is capable enough of passing this interview.
Right.
But this is where the world is going, and there is a reason why I think he said, "Can you put fingers in front of your face?" Because what I believe is that when your face is morphed in an AI, if you put fingers in front, it'll actually start blurring and start showing the person behind you.
Right.
That's what I feel. All right.
Right.
So this is pretty interesting. As I thought I should share this with you. All right. So let's get back to where we were. How much time do HR managers or HR personnel spend reviewing a resume? I mean, obviously there are a few add-on questions that I want to ask you. How much time do you spend to review a resume? Plus,
Yeah.
what is the first thing that you notice? What grabs your attention, or what causes, this is the most important question, an application to be rejected right away?
Wow. Maybe I can start with the rejection first. I
Yeah,
think that's always a
yeah,
very interesting thing that most of the
yeah.
time people have asked me as well. I think in today's society, we often really want to assess candidates based on their skills, right? And sometimes, I mean, not trying to offend any culture or anything, but I do see folks putting their photos in, and I'm not sure, at least with my own practice, is that I will not take that into any biases, but I'm not exactly sure if that's the same for any other recruiters. With that as a picture, and sometimes hiring managers do take note of their resumes as well, and it's somewhat like, I would say, more of a disadvantage. Yeah, because we want to make sure that if you put in your skills and experience, it has to just be really based on what you have done and the impact in a way. So I think first thing for me, picture is a no-go. And also the way you kind of frame it, if it's not clear, if you start to patch it in a way where it's like a jigsaw, thinking that it's creative and things like that, that also makes it very challenging for a recruiter to review. So for me, yeah.
What is the most interesting picture you have seen on a resume?
I would say I have seen some folks putting their very, I wouldn't say personal, but it's more of like a headshot whereby it's just not professional. It looks like as if the person had been to like a bar at the background and things like that. So it's a little bit off-putting, yeah.
Yeah,
But other than that, most
that
of the time it's pretty professional, yeah.
yeah. I mean, the worst I've seen, and I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, it's not on a resume, but it's on a LinkedIn. Somebody put their picture of their pole dance.
Oh, that's funny
Imagine
though.
it, imagine if you have that LinkedIn
Yeah.
link on your profile, on your resume. If the hiring manager clicks on it and he sees that you are on a pole,
Yeah.
upside down, and what's that got to do with the job? you
Yep.
know I mean, that
Exactly.
puts you in a spot. I mean, see, again, you're absolutely right when you mention that it also depends on the culture as well. I mean, obviously, in Australia, I mean, asking for photos or race or whatever is it's not required at all. I mean, that's how the industry works over here. But yes, I mean, that's a very good advice to those who are watching us, that it's not necessary to put your picture on the resume. Rather, put your experience and your achievements and what you've done is
Yeah.
more important than showing your face, or probably a face which is not appropriate. So
Yeah.
yes, so very, very good answer. Let's move on. So my other question was, what grabs your attention immediately if you look at a resume and it looks good? What is that part?
I think to kind of support, right? This particular statement I'm going to be sharing. Oftentimes when I look at the resume, I literally probably take like less than a minute, couple of seconds in, to be honest. And I often grab keywords as well. So for me, impact on what you have done with the work itself will be key for me. So
Right.
for example, I'm looking for someone in the tech world, right? And you want to know, like, is this software engineer being able to kind of really do the job? If you could actually put in like the number of hours you've reduced, the percentage across, I don't know, the software engineer cycle, you could kind of support, that really grabs my attention. Yeah. So oftentimes those impact kind of numbers in a way kind of showcase that quite a fair bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So has the technology made recruitment easier, or it's become more complicated?
Funny question you have asked. I feel like it kind of depends, right? For perhaps maybe for the candidate's point of view,
Yeah.
I feel like it helps them to a certain extent. But maybe from the user end, like ourselves, you realize that you need to spend a little bit more time to really dig deeper. Because let's say we use AI, right, to kind of search for candidates with keywords. You're not even sure whether or not they're able to kind of pick it up. So sometimes you want to like double check to have that human lens to kind of take a look. And that also means you spend a little bit more time than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say it's a give and take. But other than that, I feel like it does benefit both sides in a way. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I have a question myself. Say a lot of people, including myself, you take the help of AI in terms of rebuilding, or I would say refining what we have on paper. So is it obviously we live in the world of AI at the moment, but do you think it's a good advice to get your CV done through an AI algorithm or something?
I feel that you can. And in fact, it might really help you with more of like the formatting, perhaps picking up keywords on that front. So sometimes I do advise my friends that, okay, what you can do is you could maybe grab a job description that you're interested in with your your resume, and then kind of get ChatGPT to kind of, focus on those fronts. But you still need to do with the human lens to kind of review, because they might really just copy and paste in a way that it looks like as if you are the perfect candidate, which is not the real fact. Yeah.
Yeah. And one more story with this. Obviously, I don't want to make it very serious for our audience. So, I'll also encourage our audience, who to, ask us any questions if you like. Especially we have our guest. So if you have any question in mind, please go ahead and ask. So, talking about AI, the worst I've seen is that I received a proposal. Like, obviously, we have your RFPs, the request for proposal and stuff.
Yeah.
And funny enough, somebody actually copied that from ChatGPT, and it was actually on the proposal. Below is the response to your proposal, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, read through it.
Exactly.
The person is known to me, so I immediately told him, hey, you need to get rid of this line, because if eventually this goes to final vetting, we are we
Yeah.
won't look nice. It looks unprofessional. So
Yeah.
all right, let's get into the third segment of our discussion, which is hiring myths. Okay, fact or fiction. Okay, so let's play a quick game. So I'm gonna read out some common belief that you tell us whether they are a fact or fiction.
Okay.
Recruiters spend less than 30 seconds on a resume.
Wow. Okay. I feel like it's a blend of both. It really highly depends on the person as well. Because sometimes if, let's say, it comes to a very complicated search, for example, I'm sure recruiters want to spend a bit more time to really kind of tease out the keywords, like experiences, etc.
Yep.
I feel like it's a mix of both. It's like a 50-50. Whereas some, of course, when it comes to more of a clear-cut kind of role, where the recruiters might have already been doing that particular hiring for a while, that comes through as like a muscle memory, right? They kind of pick up the keywords really quick. Yeah. So 50-50.
Okay. So the next question, or next question for me is ATS software rejects most applications automatically.
Okay, that would be a myth, because it's not like it really depends on how you use the function as well. So let's say I am really about to close the role, and then I have this probably 5,000 applications that I've not seen, but I've already gotten a finalist candidate. Then I want to close the role. The system is able to kind of reject the 5,000 at one go. That's not a problem. That's part of the function. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and in recent times, I believe most of the ATSs should already have that function, because that would really help recruiters a lot. Because gone were the days where we had to kind of do it manually. These days, a lot of the systems I see on the ATS side, they are able to have that function. So they can reject, but they're not like rejecting, midway or something. Really depends on where the role is going, where the current situation is at as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't understand what ATS means application tracking system. Am I right, Joe?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. All right. Fancy third. Okay, next one is very important. Cover letters are dead.
Oh yes, that is 100% a fact. For me, yeah, to be very transparent, I really hardly spend time looking at cover letters, because oftentimes I want to go straight to the experience. Because can you imagine, you have 5,000, sometimes you might even get 15,000, like countries like India, is a huge load of applicants to really weave through for the top 1% to really look at.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, it's really using AI to kind of tease out main keywords. That's the first cut. And then you kind of look through the experiences pretty much quickly. Yeah, so for me, at least, it's a fact. And that's the reason why I feel that a lot of things in a candidate's resume these days are a little bit obsolete. So for example, pictures, I believe cover letters as well, because at least for me, my own practices, I don't really look at cover letters these days. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I must admit that as in Australia, we are far behind. We still have that cover letter concept.
Oh, is it a must?
For government jobs, it's a must.
Ah, okay.
It's called
gotcha.
it's called a suitability statement, and it's everyone uses AI to do it. No one even bothers.
Exactly. That's the point, right? So if you are already using AI, then what's the purpose of that? So I think, I mean, as mentioned earlier, it really depends on culture as well. So I believe like in Singapore, we don't really need one. I mean, I do see certain government bodies, they still kind of require one, but oftentimes if you look up, private sectors, often they don't really require one.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next section as well. Biggest career mistakes. Okay. So if you had to pick the 5 mistakes you see the candidates making over and over again, what would they be?
Are you asking me in terms of their interview skills, or is it more of like resume?
Both, I would say. We can look at stuff like generic resume, or maybe poor preparation, or maybe weak communication, or ignoring LinkedIn, which is pretty important nowadays.
Yeah, it is. Okay, I think for LinkedIn, it really highly depends on the timeline, because when candidates are not active in the market, then there's no point of them being on the market. But I also do strongly encourage for candidates to take time to figure out, what is currently happening in the industry, right? So if you are very happy, the advice that I always give my peers is that if you are very happy at where you are, you should at least spend like 1 to 2 interviews within like a 6-month period, just to get a sense check of the market, rather than waiting till you're about to leave and then you realize, oh my God, everyone in the market is moving at the same time. And that's where your cards on the table is like no longer available. Yeah. So I think one mistake is probably instead of waiting for the time to come when you're about to leave to go for interviews, you should already start having some conversations, and it's fine. Because sometimes, most of the time, in fact, when I look for candidates, they're oftentimes very happy at where they are. Then eventually through the process, they decided to make the move. And that's how you sometimes find your golden, champions in a way. I think the other mistake is during interviews itself, when you have the first round with a recruiter, you need to be very mindful of time, because the recruiters have a set of questions. And if you start being very verbose and you go on sharing your long stories, you're not mindful of that, that also cuts you some points. Like for me, I oftentimes look at how well candidates are able to position themselves just by using a very short time with really, I would say, clear and firm sort of like experiences that we had. So time management in the interview is also important. Other mistakes, probably preparation. I've seen cases as well. Candidates are given materials, they don't ask questions, they're very confident. And then when they finish the interviews, when the hiring panel were to ask, how come, like, did you do any preparation? And then they'll be very candidly saying, oh, I've not, because, I have this work and that work to kind of rush. And that really marks you down quite a fair bit. So take every opportunity that you have with the company. I would say, not say go all in very seriously. Of course, let's say if you are very busy, right, you should at least take some time to really make sure that you spend time there, because it's time taken from your end as well, right? So it doesn't make sense to go in an interview unprepared. Take on the materials and ask questions if anything, and then kind of move through. I think those are some of the mistakes that I've noticed.
Okay, all right. And one interesting mistake that I always find, especially when I'm looking for people, and I'll be honest with you, is that there are some candidates that don't do a research on whom they are seeing, or what company they're applying for, and this answer is, for me, it's a straight away rejection. When you say, what do you know about the company? And they're like, I applied to your job, so I applied to multiple applications, so
Yes.
that's not a right answer.
No, it's not. Oh, another thing, I think, if let's say someone were to ask you from a hiring perspective, why choose us? And if a candidate goes through like, oh, like you mentioned, I've applied multiple jobs, or I think that this is the company to be at because of the current trend. Sometimes it's too high level. Oftentimes, we also want to understand what exactly is your motivation. So I think that piece itself is also something for candidates to think about.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So let's take a scenario, Joe, wherein imagine there are two candidates. One has years of experience but struggles to communicate. The other has less experience but is confident, prepared, and demonstrates curiosity. According to you, and there's no right or wrong again, who stands out and why?
My first answer definitely will be the latter. Someone who is less experienced but come prepared and really is very confident, but not coming through as very egoistic. I think there's a fine line there to kind of have the sense check as well. Yeah. So if that candidate actually goes through the process, definitely those are some of the signals that the hiring panel is able to catch. But for me, confidence is definitely key, because that is also the first impression you are giving to the hiring panel. And we buy into storytell, right? We want to know, why are you even interested in our company, and what does that motivation and alignment looks like for you? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you, wherein, you can be experienced, highly experienced candidate, but unfortunately, if you don't have the right kind of inquisitive attitude, or, if you don't ask good questions, it doesn't make you experience. Obviously, is always advantageous, but yes, your right kind of attitude. And always, whenever I've looked for people, or I've had people working for me, the one thing that that's me. Maybe every person has a different opinion. Obviously, some people have technical requirements; those are very important. But I think the main aspect of, or main attribute of a candidate, according to me, is the attitude and the fitment. Team fit, and culture fit.
Yeah.
Again, experience is okay. You have experience is fine. But if you, as you rightly said, if you don't have the right kind of attitude, or if you don't have the right kind of culturally fit qualities, that can stand out, and that really helps in terms of building that kind of team atmosphere in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on, and maybe this will be the final segment of our discussion. What do you think has changed dramatically over the last few years? Obviously we talked about artificial intelligence, we talked about LinkedIn, and what's the future of hiring? AI is everywhere. LinkedIn is almost everywhere. It's online resume. Job seekers have more tools than ever before. So how has hiring changed in the last maybe 2 to 3 years, or maybe post-COVID?
Wow, that's a very good question. I mean, in my perspective, I feel that with all this tech coming through, it shortens the process a lot more. That also kind of blurs a lot more, like, domains and things like that. For me, the biggest thing that I see coming up is definitely the networking part as well. Like having the right connections to kind of get you through. I oftentimes in my past companies as well, predominantly, we are also looking at how we could kind of drive referrals internally for us to also kind of build that culture. Yeah, because that also sits on the basis that if we do hire the right folks as the base foundational team, that will kind of, give a lot more, I would say, not say like-minded, but more of like credibility, right, to the folks that also kind of joins the company in some sense. So I think referrals for me, definitely one of the biggest thing to go. However, that also comes with the other perspective, because sometimes the referrals might not be people that they know. Sometimes it might be, at a networking event, they have a chat with this person and that leaves a good impression. So it's still up to the recruiters on how the business needs are and how are they able to kind of make the discernment to see, okay, if this person is the right fit or not at the end. Yeah, so I think networking is definitely one key thing. However, then again, with AI, a lot of people are going the reverse. They don't want to be online as much. They don't want to, be out in those big networking events. So how then can you think creatively to kind of, make an impression would be something that I'm seeing a lot more these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can see we have one question, but we'll take that later. Not a problem.
Sure.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, you're 100% right. I mean, looking at the current scenario that we have, and again, job seekers have so many options and tools that never existed before. I mean, I remember I come from that era wherein you still had your paper resume, not a
Yes.
soft copy. you know,
Yeah, I
Obviously,
remember
you can
that.
see from the gray hair that I
Yeah.
have on my head, I'm that old, right? So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
personally, the hiring scenario has completely transformed. And there is one more question that came up to my mind. There's a lot of talk around. I don't know whether it's just a speculation or it actually exists at the moment in this industry. Are there actually bots doing initial screening? Is that right?
I do believe so as well. I'm not exactly sure which company, but I wouldn't be surprised that is also one of the workflows that some companies are adopting. I
Okay.
mean, if you were to look at the larger landscape, to be very frank, if once AI or AGI comes through, right, and they really take over workflows, the first to go is definitely the HR folks. Right? And I'm oftentimes told that recruitment is a cost center, right? Ultimately, we will also be the first few to be, kind of looked at. And when it comes to business, it's always about profitability, right? What makes sense for them? What are some of the areas they do kind of can off? I wouldn't be surprised one day we will be out of job, to be honest, from the recruiting
Yeah.
side, where these bots are just going to be the main. Yeah. If they can train the LLM models to a degree where it really can function like us, like you had your experience where you were talking to a bot, the
Oh
digital
yeah.
twin, right? Yeah. So I'm not
100%.
surprised things might change very quickly on
Yep.
that. Yeah.
Yep. All right. See, another interesting thing. Obviously, this is really frustrating. Equally frustrating for experienced candidates. Wherein personally, I have seen when I moved to Australia, the amount of work that I had to do to find my first gig was unbelievable. Obviously, coming from a different market altogether, living in Southeast Asia for long, and then coming to a market which is, I would say, still not. It's a matured market, but Australia works 99% on referrals, just like you mentioned.
Yeah.
In Australia, a job is not posted online; it is filled internally 99% of the time. And it is my advice to people who are out there and experience or inexperience. Obviously, the more you speak, the more you connect. And the modern world is about how well you are connected with people, because eventually no one picks you. I mean, you do get picked or headhunted by different people, but if you are a smart operator, you will eventually get through the initial, I would say, hurdle of having applying to work and making and just assuming that someone will actually call you. So
Yeah.
that's my take. Um, we'll move on quickly because I know it's been already 40 minutes, and I promised I won't close this quickly. I can see a couple of questions on the backstage, but let's do a quick fire round, Joe, before we start taking our user comments.
Sure.
Okay, no overthinking. Whatever comes to your mind first. You can say that. If you're not
Okay.
sure, just say I'll pass or not applicable.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
T.
Okay. Remote or office?
Remote.
Okay. LinkedIn or resume?
LinkedIn.
Okay. Experience or potential?
Potential.
All right. Morning interview or afternoon interview?
Wow, this is tough. Morning interview.
You like morning interviews?
Yeah, I usually find it a little bit more refreshing because you start the day right early and you kind of get it done and then you can go about your day after.
Okay. One habit every professional should develop.
Curiosity.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
One book everyone should read.
Oh my gosh. I recently read this book. I find it really interesting.
Uh-huh.
It's a book that called how do you hold a cockroach?
Oh,
Yeah. How
okay.
to hold a cockroach. Yeah. So basically within the book itself, it's really
Uh-huh.
a fiction book basically. And it's a storytelling where how this boy eventually overcome his own fears
Oh, okay.
and
I was
what
about to say,
exactly
like,
yeah.
yeah, carry on. Sorry to disturb you.
No
Carry
worries.
on.
Yeah. So basically, it's about how the boy overcome his own fears in a way, and specifically with the cockroach, and that
Mm.
is beautifully written. I think they have an audiobook as well. So I've not tried
Okay.
the audiobook, but I've read the actual copy. So I thought that was amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, what I was saying, like, not everyone is comfortable holding a cockroach. I mean, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. I can actually run behind a cockroach and hold it
Right.
by the the antennas that it has. I'm not scared of
Oh,
cockroach at all.
nice. Well, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's the whole
yeah.
idea of the book.
I mean, obviously, uh,
Yeah.
to be honest, as migrating to Australia and then having to live among all kind of birds and snakes and I don't know whatnot has actually it's an eye opener that you when you live in a country which is first world and you live in a
Yeah.
city, you don't have an experience of seeing a snake for the
Yes.
first time, and then you have spider running around your house, you have your kangaroos running around in front of you. That's a very different experience.
Yeah,
All
for
good.
sure.
Right. Yeah. So thanks a lot. I mean, I'll let's take the user comments. This is the last part that we are.
Sure.
After this, we'll conclude. So
Mhm.
obviously, I don't want to take much time, or it's already 45, almost 45 minutes. So we have a question. I'll highlight on the stage.
Mhm.
Arnab Das, he is our subscriber. He's asked a question. If someone has career gap for the long time, then how to prepare good resume, or how to convince human resource? That's a very good question.
Yeah, that is a very good question. And oftentimes I do come across candidates with such scenarios. I think to kind of prepare a good resume, first and foremost, to be very transparent with your recruiter. You know, tell the recruiter exactly why you are taking a gap. It could be for multiple personal reasons and just going with the flow in sharing. Yeah. Some people tell me things like, oh, I've taken a break because I really needed a break, which is fine. Some folks
Mm-hmm.
told me that they wanted to career switch. So they took a time out to kind of build their skills. That's perfect. So I think as long as you state it clearly and not just hiding it and be transparent during the chat, oftentimes it should be good to go. I wouldn't say it's more of convincing HR. I think it's more being authentic as well when it comes to
Yeah.
recruiting. Yeah, because we are not we are not interviewing bots, right? We are here to hire humans to be part of a business that you can kind of value add in impact. Yeah, so I think just as long as you're transparent and not being wishy-washy and things like that, it's fine to say that you're taking a break. You have to go on maternity leave, or I think some of the things, like for example, you got laid off, right? Sometimes people feel that it's a taboo to talk about, which I don't. In my perspective, I don't think it's a taboo because it is a reality of things, and things are
Yeah.
changing often. So own it, and just be transparent with a recruiter.
Yeah. That's a very good advice, and specifically when you mention about people who get laid off, I think that's a pin that's under your skin. You still have the feel of what getting laid off means, and I can I have full I can say I sympathize those who go through this painful process. It's not easy, trust me. In fact,
Yeah.
one of my close friends had this problem a couple of months ago, and he went through a very downhill phase in his life. So eventually, it's not the end of the world. I would say you have to
Yeah.
come out of it and
Yeah.
just be strong and be authentic, as Joe mentioned. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, we have a couple of questions and then we'll move forward.
Okay.
This guy
Hmm.
is. I love my India. Okay, that's his ID, by the way. Uh, what advice or a username? What
Yeah.
advice you will give to a fresh graduate in tech
Yep.
looking for work? Okay.
This is a very popular one, and I have started seeing a lot more folks as well reaching out to me on these aspects. I think
Mm,
one key thing is to understand what sort of value can you add. And
mm,
looking from a lens of a business perspective, we are oftentimes running like call centers, right? Call centers meaning there's no revenue coming through. So for you
mm,
to be in tech right now, I think it's very important to look at how can you generate revenue for a company. If let's say you want to work for a business, the profitability part is always the first key idea of what the business is looking for. So rather than being part of a call center, how can you be part of a revenue generator within the firm
mm,
itself will be key. These days, what I saw is instead of going applying for like a pure tech role, there are a lot more requirements on tech folks, perhaps maybe doing different kind of skills. Like it could be solutions engineer, where they
mm.
are, they have to drive sales, for example. So that kind of
Oh wow.
hybrid role starts coming up a lot more. And so if you're able to kind of pivot yourself in that space, I think that would be the way to go. Yeah, it's no longer like way before AI came, right? That it's just pure
Mm,
tech specific. Now
yeah.
these roles are starting to kind of integrate into different forms and shapes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very interesting explanation there, Joe. I
Mm.
100% agree with you. I mean, eventually, gone are those days wherein people will, just or the business will keep spending money with, if they don't see ROI. ROI means return on investment.
Yeah.
So if as I said, if you're well connected with people, a software guy can be a salesperson, because if you have developed something which is out of the box, I'm 100% sure there are people out there curiously wanting to listen to what you have delivered. I mean, obviously, you need communication skills for that, and
Yeah.
that's where it all boils down to:
Yeah.
communication plus your expertise.
Mm.
Okay, one final question because I don't see any further
Okay.
comments. What do you do? What to
Mm.
do when you get rejected?
Wow. I think this has so many layers to it.
Mm,
I think tell yourself that it's like what Nav said, it's not the end of the world. And continue to kind of, connect, continue to apply, and don't give up. Yeah, because in this time and age, is always more about how are you really being able to kind of, put yourself out there, right? And like for me, and also spending time right with yourself and doing things that you like. So getting rejection is really not the end of the world. And sometimes you might not get the feedback right from the companies, and that's okay because they have their own rules and regulations. So rather than remunerating within the space, just move on and and just keep going at it. Yeah.
yeah. Thanks a lot,
Mm,
Joe.
no
So
problem.
before we finish, sorry, yeah. So this was the last question that I took. I don't see any other comments on my screen,
Gotcha.
which is all okay. So I'll leave with some final thoughts for you as well, Joe. I mean,
Mm,
I'd like to ask one final question.
sure.
Imagine someone listening today is feeling stuck in their career.
Mm,
Maybe they have been rejected several times. Maybe they're wondering whether they are good enough, or they have not been good enough in their interviews or in their jobs so far.
mm.
What is the one message that you'd like to leave them with?
I think the most important message is don't give up, and try to stay as connected as possible rather than being by yourself. Because if you keep sticking within yourself, it's just an echo chamber. You will not get any feedback, right? So rather than just, as mentioned earlier, sticking to what has happened, but taking that as a lesson and start talking to folks, start understanding. You can reach out to HR practitioners and get to understand what exactly is really happening these days, or even going to communities, right? In those spaces, doesn't need to be specific in a professional setting. You might be surprised sometimes if you connect with other people, they might give you a different perspective of what exactly is happening for them as well. So I think don't give up, be very curious,
Hmm.
and just keep going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good advice, and same
Mm.
same with me. I mean, as an experienced consultant, or a professional, I would always say that there is always a room for improvement. Experienced folks like me, we always learn new
Yeah.
things. So learning is the key,
Mhm.
and then that is about it. I mean, we have this subscriber saying, "Thanks for your
Oh,
valuable time, Neith and
thanks
Jocelyn.
so
Thanks a lot."
much, Chester.
It's a she.
Oh,
It's a she. Yeah,
thank you,
she's
thank you.
looks like she's a Linkin Park fan.
Oh,
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park fan, gotcha.
We have this subscriber on off who's saying hello, hello,
Oh,
hello.
hi, hi.
His name is Mohit, so he calls himself on off. I don't know why, but some unique names, I would say, all
Yeah,
unique names nowadays. So thanks a lot, Joe.
no
Thanks for
problem.
joining me and
Thanks for having me.
sharing. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for sharing such honest insights into the hiring processes.
Mm.
And I think a lot of myths have been busted today, and hopefully our audience now has a much clearer understanding of what happens behind the scene.
Mhm.
So if you've enjoyed this conversation, let us know your biggest takeaway in the comments. And if there is any topic that you'd like us to cover in the future, I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who's looking for work or maybe in their early career. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, please feel free to comment or email me through my email on the channel. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Joe.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
again, and
See you.
hopefully we have a lot more opportunities to collaborate. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
Thanks, Joe. And there is so sorry. There's one comment just popped in.
Oh, okay.
Would you make
Oh,
one more live? Please, I'm late. No worries. XP,
yeah.
if you have any questions, you can just send me a message on Instagram or email me. I'm happy to do it. I have some questions to ask, but I'll ask if there is
Ah,
any next streaming regarding this. All good. You can
yep.
email me, as I said. We are happy to do that. Thank you very much. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for your time. And,
Thank you.
we'll see you again and have a good one. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.